Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pop Art Hunter channel. Today we're going to be talking about some prints from my collection. I have quite a few prints from J Scott Campbell and Nei Ruffino, and today we're going to be talking about two of those. One of the reasons because, I think that this is a cool piece, but also I just got the accompanying sketch piece. And so these are not actual, authentic one sketches or anything like that. These are, production prints that are limited edition to a certain amount of series. But I think it's cool to see the original line drawing from J Scott Campbell and then the color work of Nei Ruffino and how that translates and makes the pieces, in some ways better and then in some ways unique to see them without the lines, to see all those little details. So we're going to be looking at these a little bit more closely. Let's get started. All right, here is the sketch version, and again, this isn't an original sketch, it's a limited edition. This one's number 37 of 50, and this was done by J Scott Campbell. He did the original line and ink work on this, and it's part of a collection. It's called the Fairytale Fantasies collection, which covers everything from, more traditional fairy tales like Hansel and Gretel, Little Bo Peep, Little Miss Muffet, things like that. And then also moves into the fairy tales that we don't even associate with fairy tales anymore. We associate with Disney. So, the Little Mermaid is an example. Very few kids, or even adults for that matter, look back and say, oh, I remember that book, The Little Mermaid. They remember the movie. So, I call it like the fairy tales and the Disney sort of collection. So it goes through all those: Alice in Wonderland, Beauty and the Beast, Peter Pan, just it kind of runs the gamut there. And, I think they're really cool pieces. So this is, the Little Mermaid. And this is the J Scott Campbell line art print. But then what I think is amazing is how we get from this point to the next point, which is, this full color piece. So, J Scott Campbell will do the line work and the ink work, and then he ships it off to Nei Ruffino, and she does the color work. And this is, so each artist has their own. I've seen some of the Nei stuff that she has done, some of the sketch work, and personally, I don't like her sketch work style as much as I maybe like J Scott Campbell's style. But also, I feel as though without this color, it just doesn't quite sing. It doesn't quite pop the way it does here. And so I think this is an example of a really great pairing of artists that complement each other with their work. The detail work that you see on J Scott Campbell stuff is just, the texturing that they use on the figures and, the little details that they put kind of throughout. It's really intricate, and he does a great job with that. But then to see it in full color with the shading and the underwater effects, you can see the lighting coming through the water there and stuff like that. It just has a significant different look to it. And so I think these are really cool pieces. I have a whole series of these. I don't have all of them. I have two of these line sketch prints. This is the only matching accompanying color sketch that I have for that. So I love that I was able to get this so that I can show this as an example of that transition of how it goes from, inked lines to the color art. I do have one more line art, but I do not have the accompanying color piece. And then I have dozens of the other prints. I don't quite have almost a complete collection, but I have a lot, and I have almost. They did multiple series of these as they go along. But yeah, if you just if you take a look at some of this stuff side by side, it just really shows you the difference in color work and how it just kind of comes to life. I really think it's good. Now, like for instance, the statue piece here. It almost in the detailed version, you almost lose a little detail in the colored version where you look here and you're like, wow, how intricate it got, and you lose some of the color work versus, in the sketch piece, you have no light. You have no light coming through the water. You have none of the little translucency of the tail, and you kind of miss those things. So this adds to it greatly. So I can't speak highly enough of both of these artists as far as their talent. I do think if I had to choose between them, I would always choose to have this color piece on my wall versus just the line piece. Though without J Scott Campbell, I don't think Nei would be able to you know, kind of build on this in this way to make such a great piece. You know, again, I think I've seen some of her her original work where she's done the line art and the line work and the coloring. But, you know, J Scott Campbell has such a style to him, but she's able to really make it kind of come alive with all this color. So again, this is just 2 pieces from this larger collection. We might get into some of the other pieces later. I think it's a really neat set to be able to show these side by side, and I'm really happy to own them. I really like these pieces. They're just 2 of the larger collection I have of J Scott Campbell and Nei Ruffino. But these 2 I think are really cool because they show the difference between that original line work that J Scott Campbell did, and then the color work and how things progressed with Nei Ruffino, and how that, I don't know, there's something about the color work that just brings everything to life and shows that vibrancy, but then also you sort of sometimes lose that detail in some ways that you can see in the line work. So to display these side by side, I think is a real treat for my collection. Again, there's not a ton of these prints. I mean, they're limited edition in that particular size and those things. And these are the only 2. I have one other line drawing one, but I don't have the accompanying color piece. And so this is the only the set I have of those. And so I think it's a cool way to showcase how that looks on the wall, and then it's a great conversation starter. I love conversation pieces. I love art pieces. These kind of throw me back to some of that old animation style. I think probably because of the characters. It covers some of the fairy tale characters, Snow White and Little Mermaid and Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, those types of things. And so I think that's it reminds me of those old animation styles in Disney films and fairy tale sort of cartoons. And so yeah, I know, cool pieces. I recommend them if you like either of those artists or you like that subject matter. These are some cool ones to start collecting. They're a little bit higher than what they were originally when they came out retail. They used to release them each and every year, but then all of a sudden they stopped because I think he's gotten so busy with other artwork. They also do statues of some of these pieces through Sideshow Toys. J Scott Campbell has a new partnership with them where they've been making some, kind of busts and statues of that. So we might be taking a look at those and the rest of my collection a little bit later. But thanks for watching the Pop Art Hunter channel, and we will see you next time.